Welcome to The Chaos Antidote, a leadership podcast hosted by Jason E. Neal, author of Accidentally Aligned: How Leaders Create Value in Chaos. Through these episodes, we will be exploring real-world problems and applying solutions that reduce your chaos and help you to become accidentally aligned. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Chaos Antidote. This is Jason Neal. So I'm following up on the previous conversations that we've had on respect for people, listening, and encouraging. This comes from a direct theme from my book. So if you pick up my book, Accidentally Aligned: How Leaders Create Value in Chaos, it is available on Amazon as paperback, Kindle, hard copy. It is now available on Audible, actually effective yesterday. So if you're interested in listening, go check that out. And I do have a YouTube channel, a website, jasoneneal.com, and please follow me on LinkedIn as well for more encouraging thoughts. So let's get in today. What are we talking about today? I want to talk a little bit about the conversation of encouragement, encouraging other people. And what does this look like? What does it not look like? When I think about the reasons that people fail, there are many of them, but it usually starts with something inside of us. Our biggest enemy is generally not the thing that's out there that looks like the monster that has 7 heads, right? It's usually not that thing. That might be the thing that's scaring us, but there are reasons that we're afraid of that. One of the things that limits people in their lives is the way that they think about themselves. And I've struggled with this in my life, and when you think about where we come from and the things that craft us and shape us in our lives, and then we go somewhere else, but you have to change there. Something has to be left behind so that the new thing can be experienced. The thing that was back there, that's our past. That's a part of us for sure, but it's not our future. It's not where we're going. And when we think about, lean business transformations, here's what I see a lot. When people start going through a business transformation, often they will add steps. So we might have a process and we'll do an improvement and people will say, I added 32 things, and then that reduces burden and increases quality and increases delivery and lowers cost. But we're doing these extra 32 things. And what I have found is when real transformation takes place, we have the ability to deselect work. So we have the ability to say, we're not just adding 31 new things, right? We're actually removing things. And what we're doing is we're shifting that focus from doing things that we shouldn't have been doing to doing things that we should have been doing. It's like when you go on a diet, right? I can say, I hate cookies. I'm going to talk to myself and look in the mirror, and every day I'm going to wake up, I'm going to look in the mirror and say, I hate cookies. I hate cookies. You hate cookies. You know you hate cookies, but I don't hate cookies. I love cookies, right? And so something has to change. It doesn't mean that I all of a sudden hate cookies or that I even need to all of a sudden hate cookies. But what is important is that I start to love something else. I now love apples. I now love fruit. I now love vegetables, right? I love to exercise. And it's not that the thing necessarily isn't there, or there's not a desire to do it. Maybe we've done those things for a long time. Maybe we've had bad habits established in our lives for a long time. But when we begin to break those habits, we should start having the conversation and saying, well, if I'm not doing that anymore, then what am I going to do? And if I am going to do something else, maybe I should do that something else less, right? Because I only have so much capacity. And I'll share a story with you today. This is a very important story to me. My family immigrated from Scotland in the 1700s, came to the United States, and we have been farmers forever. I mean, forever. When we came here, that's what we did. A lot of the census, you look on the records, you'll see an X because we just didn't have literacy in our family, and it just wasn't something that we did. And growing up, I had this desire that I want to go to college, right? I want to do something, and I wanted to be a mechanical engineer, and I did that. I got a master's degree in business. I wanted to do those things. They were important to me. But growing up, there were so many limitations that were placed on me because being the first one to do something is always hard. You always face the the doubts and the reasons you can't do something. There's so many reasons that people will give you. They'll be like, "Oh, that's not for you. That's for somebody else. It's for somebody else somewhere that you can't see, and it's for somebody else that you can't know. It's just not for you, right? It's not for us." And I faced that a lot in my life. And when I began to grow and when I began to move into new places, my sensei was starting to push me, and he would say, I want you to go and present to the vice president this week, and you're doing some really good work, and I'd like you to go tell him about it." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that. That'd be great." And the week goes on, and time goes, a week passes by. I didn't go, and I just didn't show up. And so my sensei, calls me and says, "Hey, what's going on? I thought you were going to go and to the meeting today." And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry." And I gave him the answer that we always give people when we dance around what's really going on. And I said, I've been real busy, I'm building this plant and, doing all these things, and it's real busy. I'll catch the next one. He's like, "Well, the next one's Thursday. So you'll be at the one on Thursday." I was like, "Okay, wonderful." And he's like, "Yes, you will be there. Yes." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll be there." And so I didn't go again on Thursday. And my sensei gets on a plane and comes to my office and comes in the room and says, "We have to have a talk." And I said, "Well, what are you doing here? Why did you come across the country?" And he said, "Because now you made this serious." And I said, "Okay." And he said, You skipped, the meeting with the vice president 2 times. It was not unnoticed. It was noticed. They were looking forward to hearing from you, and you just didn't show up. And I don't understand what's going on." And I said, "Well, and I did the thing again. I said, I'm building this new plant. It's taking a lot of time, and, working with all these people, having these issues." And he's like, "That is not the problem." And I said, "No, that's not the problem." And he said, "What is going on with you? Do you trust me or not?" And I said, "Honestly, I'm afraid. I'm afraid." And he said, "What are you afraid of?" And I said, I've never done this before. I don't know what it is to sit in a room with a vice president and talk about these kind of things. I don't even know how to have that conversation. I don't even know how you have a conversation at that level. Nobody taught me these things. And everyone assumes that because I've got good at this, that I know how to do that, but I don't know how to do that." And he began to tell me, he didn't get mad at me at all, which was awesome. He's like, "But these are skills that you can learn." And then he told me this phrase, and I never forgot it, and I'll share it with you today. It was very powerful. He said, "Your brain tells you things about life that are wrong, and they limit you in every area of your life because you believe them." And that's what I want to talk about today. It's these limitations, it's these things in our life that we believe. It's not that I get up every morning in the mirror and I look in the mirror and say, "Oh, you're a winner. You can do this. You're great." Maybe you do that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's what I fundamentally believe in myself, about myself, in my own mind, right? Because our greatest adversary in leadership, our greatest adversary in change and transformation, it's not the thing in front of us. The reason that we feel the way we feel about the thing in front of us is because of the things that are within us. And I began to learn about this idea of growth mindset, how, when you're not good at something, instead of pulling away, which is what I was doing, I was like, "Well, I'm not good at that. I don't think I've always been told that's not for me. So I'm just going to pull back and maybe nobody will notice." There was a massive limiter in my life. I know there are people listening to this right now, and you do this every day. And I did this every day. So it's a safe space. We're sharing information here, right? But what happened was, for the first time in my life, I began to look at this situation and say, because I'm not good at this, I will do it more than anything else that I'm doing right now. And I began to put myself onto these schedules just like this, putting myself out here. I don't think I'm good at that. I'm not, that's not something that I do, but I put myself out here more and more and more. And I allow myself to be sharpened by things. And that is how we grow. So what's the takeaway here, right? Encouragement. If you see somebody that's struggling, it might be, we might assume, we might look at that and say, "Oh, they're not a team player. They're not one of us. We have things and they don't come, or they pull away from it, or when we ask them to present, they don't want to go, or we ask them to do something, they don't show up, and they're just not one of us." That's a huge assumption. That's a hypothesis. Maybe they're not, right? Maybe they don't like you. Maybe they don't like your team. Maybe they don't like your organization. That is possible. But it's also possible that there are things there that are not ready for where you are taking them. And when we grow, it causes those things to be revealed in us that we're not good at. And here's what I will suggest if you want to build a culture of greatness in your organization, if you want to build a culture of safety and transformation, this is what I would recommend. When that happens, not if that happens, when it happens, because it will. It's probably all around you, and we don't even see it half the time because we cover things, because we don't want to be transparent. We don't want people to see into our lives. It's probably already there. But the way we interact with it and building that safety so that people can talk to us when people do something and we know that they're not good at it, maybe it didn't even go great, but do we immediately jump and tell them like, hey, these are the 19 things you did wrong? Maybe we do. Maybe that's our style, right? And we say, these are the 19 things that you did wrong. But do we pause and we take the time to say, I know that that was a huge step for you. And I know that you grew today. And I'm not blind to that. And I know that you are becoming stronger every day. And with that, I'm going to help you grow by telling you that I notice these things that we can sharpen on, and I'm going to partner with you. I'm going to help you, and I'm going to be an advocate for you to help you develop these skills so that you can improve and become even stronger in the long run. There's a very different way when we encourage people and pull them forward. And here's what I found about leaders. The leaders that try to destroy us, the leaders that try to push us down and tell us that we're not good enough and limit us and things like that, those are the ones that see people growing and rising as competition. They're B players, they're C players. I can't afford to have them to become and emerge as the leader that I know that they can be, because they're going to cast a shadow on me. So that's what they do. They just decide, we're going to put a cap on this. I know that they're weak in that area, so I'm going to squeeze, I'm going to twist there. Every time they do, I'm going to embarrass them. I'm going to make sure that they never get past that. But A players, strong leaders don't do that, because strong leaders are not intimidated by strong leaders. And I've learned this in my life. The people that pulled me forward when I was showing strength were stronger than me. They weren't a bit afraid that I was going to rise up, and they didn't care how far I went. Most of the time, they were very much from the perception of saying, I hope you go there because we need you to go there. This business needs you to go there because we don't have enough people there that are doing what you're doing. So that's what I would challenge you. What you're actually doing in the way that we respond to people and the way that we engage people is we're revealing ourselves. We are revealing ourselves. And that's the piece that I would ask you to take away. Look in the mirror and ask yourself today, who am I? Who am I? What am I afraid of? Am I afraid of people around me growing? Am I afraid of people around me passing me? Am I afraid that there's not enough food to eat and I'm going to go hungry because somebody's going to take something that belongs to me? Or am I the type of person that I can look myself in the mirror and say, everywhere I go, leaders emerge. Everywhere that I go, leaders spring up. And when I go from place to place to place and I leave that place, there are more leaders there. There are more people that have grown and they have found value in their lives than before I was there. I have changed that organization in that way. Because when we create that personal brand, now you're going to find trust. And this is something I've learned. This is something that just from many years of scars and experience, I have learned this. A transformational leader at any level, at any corporation, when you go into transformation and you're trying to persuade or you're trying to change something that is it's already in motion, right? It's that locomotive that's going on the track at 300 miles an hour, and you're trying to stop it, and not only stop it, but move it in the other direction. When you find yourself in those situations, you have to invest $1 million to take out $100 from that bank. You just do. And you have to continue investing in that. And then every now and then people will let you withdraw. Okay, I feel like you invested enough. I'm going to let you withdraw. And this is how we build that culture. I would call it the culture of greatness, or the transformational culture. When we build that, we create that safety. And everything that we do in transformation is built on safety. If I feel safe, I will tell you about what? I will tell you about things that are wrong, quality. If I tell you about quality and the culture's right, you will fix quality. If you fix quality, what happens? Delivery gets better. If delivery gets better, what happens? All of a sudden, I'm not working overtime. I'm not expediting. Cost begins to improve. And that's how the system works. But so many times we look at this S and we say, safety is really not a big deal. It's psychological safety. Those are soft skills. That's elementary stuff. I learned that in kindergarten. I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't learn that in kindergarten. I just about guarantee it. We think sometimes we learn that in kindergarten. But when you bring that into this monstrosity of an organization, wherever it is, and you start deploying that and you start to be faced with the backlash that this monster has that's moving in a forward direction, you will find these are not elementary skills. They're not elementary on any level. These are deep transformational skills. This is what I share with you today. I hope this has been helpful to you. We'll do it again next week. We'll continue walking through my book. If you haven't picked it up, pick it up. I think you'll enjoy it. And don't forget, you can get it on Audible right now. So if you're in the plant, you're on the shop floor, you can put in an earbud. You can walk around wherever you are, going for a walk, decompressing. You can hear it, and you can learn more about these things. And then hopefully as you tune in and you listen to this, I'll be able to add even more stories and values to it. But appreciate you very much. Thank you for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.